touch base to acknowledge changes and the shifts within our own consciousness and within the energies and within the collective and the matrix. So there's a lot going on like usual. A lot of it is distraction like usual. You really have to stay focused on your purpose and your mission in this world, because this world is designed to distract you, toy with you, and play with you, and set you off course in this simulatrix, in this dream state reality, the matrix, the false reality, the technocratic reality, because it's all mathematics, it's all mayat, or Maya. See the Maya for what it truly is, to break away from the Maya. Live authentically as true spiritual beings. This is what mystical guardianship is all about. This is what the school of mysticism is all about. Real esotericism, real levels of consciousness and understanding that you are a co-creator or a creator of your reality. And by wielding this power, we are given access and ability to transcend so much limitation, so many things that are in our way. And we'll go into specifics here. One of the cool things is right now we just are dropping a new lesson inside of the School of Mysticism, which is going to be called Unveiling Dark Magic, which is really powerful because people need to be aware that the duality of this realm is constantly clashing. And so that brings in the idea of strategic warfare, strategic guardianship, strategic maneuvering of the etheric currents and the etheric currents or the ethereal currents. So, as we progress in our journey, new levels of consciousness, new levels of discovery are also reconciled or unveiled. And new things are always coming into our fruition, into our awareness. We're always discovering new things. There is definitely a shift in the power dynamics that is occurring here. It's so well manipulated that it's so hard to decipher fact from fiction, from illusion. So we gotta become more discerning with our awareness. We gotta become more intelligent. Really, there's only a few beings that are actually able to play the game and able to understand what they're doing. So as you can learn to succeed and win, you have to let go of certain things. You have to let go of certain energies, certain people, certain collectives. You have to let go of the collective. You're not going to be shining as a star, as a unique being, as a unique divine spirit, if you are an individual and everybody else is in the hive. So if they're in the hive, you have to detach yourself from them in order to free yourself. That's what it really comes down to is, are you willing to make the sacrifices to reach freedom? Are you willing to do the work, continuously do the work, even when you are just reaching victory or when you've achieved victory, there could be still some other battles because everything is a battle in a certain sense. So the war is long, but there are many battles. Strategically maneuver around these currents. This is the true definition of enlightenment. When you become a warrior on the battlefield, a mystical warrior, because you're no longer afraid of the darkness, you're able to strike the darkness in the heart of evil they contain, and look them dead in the eye and shine your light and make them feel fear, because you are purity, and their fear basically reflects back to them. So this is the power of reflective magic. So all those people that, let's just say, if you're not on the team of the School of Mysticism and you are, trying to do something against this energy, everything will come back to you and hit you hard, and you will experience negative repercussions. So that is my only warning, and it's really more like a disclaimer, is like, hey, you attack a divine being, you will be attacked. And they're not going to just go for a small attack. It's going to be at the throat. So let's not get into too much of that because I'm going to save that for battle magic. Guardianship is all about standing in your power.
For too long, the earth has been trampled over. For too long, people have not stood in their power. For too long, have we allowed this dark force to rule over us? And no longer. Now, when you're taking back your power and your sovereignty, you don't need to confront the enemy in the way that you would think. So, when you go out and you are trying to fight against the enemy in this way, where you're basically trying to protest and stay with their system, this is how you lose the battle. Because their system is designed to keep you enslaved. That's why, for example, a lot of content creators utilize YouTube as a source of income. However, what I would say is YouTube is going to pay you peons. It's going to pay you crumbs if you're not a mainstream creator. And so what I would say to that is if you're willing to, put yourself in that low position where you're barely being compensated for what you're doing because of YouTube and because of these platforms that are really just milking and stealing from creators, true authentic creators, right? Where they push the advertisers and the people that are basically serving you garbage. So whether this be in the spiritual community, because there's spiritual deceptions everywhere. There's so many. Since I have begun my channel, the amount of channels that have surfaced and that have started to talk about similar things has become exponential. And so I knew this intuitively. I knew that this was going to happen, and that when the system disrespects us, when you're in a toxic relationship, you got to step away, cut the cord, and then walk on your own and know that you're better and that you are worth more. So this is very important to recognize, is that we must have higher standards of self-love and self-respect. And as we carry these higher standards of self-love and self-respect, we begin to create sovereign energy fields for our freedom. My message is not to tell you, hey, the elite are destroying the world and we're all fucked. That is not what I'm here to say. And if you want to stay on that sinking ship, that's fine, but we have our own ship. We have our own ship, we have our own island, we have our own place. And there's nothing much you can do for them. You see? If you are going to bother me about questions about people that I don't care about, like if you ask me a question about somebody that's in the mainstream, I'm almost 100% going to ignore your question. Now, this does not mean that I feel offended by you or something. It's simply because I keep my energy lane clear. So I don't talk about people that do not matter to my existence. Anyone that's in the public eye, I do not care about. If you ask me my opinion about the election or something, I will not give you an answer because it does not matter to me. And that is part of the simulatrix. So don't feel offended if I disregard your question. It's simply a way of protecting my energy. This is far beyond this realm and this world and this construct and the way these humans think. We are bringing something from levels of information and power and pure spirit. We do not contaminate this pure spirit with demonic forces. When demonic forces show up, I kick them out and I slay their heads. That's the way I handle things, because we have to be guardians of our new world. We have to protect against these Wetiko-filled beings. So, what I recommend is for people to do the serious cleansing and clearings in themselves if you actually possess a divine spark. If you do not possess a divine spark, well, then I understand why you're asking that question. However, if you do, I need you to shift your consciousness and your thought process away from irrelevant people in your life, irrelevant concepts, like what's happening in the political sphere, what's happening in the mainstream. Why does that matter? Don't you know it's already hijacked? So this is where the truth community is actually stuck chasing their own tail, okay? All the people that come on to YouTube and will give you an update on how the world is going to shit every week or so. They come on live, they tell you about all these things that the government's doing, and then you leave and you're like, man, what the fuck? This is terrible. Like, the world is done. Now, that is not going to help anybody. Things are collapsing. And again, there was plenty warning given So the hawk is the one that has the bird's eye vision, that can see the entire chessboard and is able to be the magical being that's flying up above, versus the vulture is picking at garbage. They only have garbage to sift through. They are garbage.
Don't stop.
That's
now.
all they receive.
You done did it. Come on.
That's the type of energy most people have in this matrix. So how do you actually stop being garbage? Well, you got to, number one, do the inner work. Number two, you got to cut yourself away from this toxic society that we are brainwashed into. And then number three, you got to connect with your true, authentic spiritual self and the true, authentic spiritual powers that exist within you and that are installed within creation and beyond creation, and that are also connected to your true bloodline. This is the only way you're going to reach true, higher state of consciousness. You must do the diligent work and to make you as powerful and intelligent as possible. And I want you guys to be inspired by this message. I want you to feel that there is a spark here, that there is something to be able to be created.